Hello, random YouTube people. If you clicked on this video, I'm guessing you have some fence problems. As you can see from these pictures, these fences are not straight. Either the person installed it themselves, or perhaps an install crew just did a very bad job. Either way, there is large gaps underneath these fences. Not only does it not look good, it kind of defeats the purpose of having a fence in the first place. Fence gaps could allow small animals to get out that you wanted to keep in, or the other way around. In my case, we installed our fence when there was still grass on the ground, so the installers just put it level with the grass. We have since put concrete in, and it's revealed the unevenness of our fence. And it's going to be a problem for us because now our neighbor's grass is higher than our concrete. So whenever they water their yard or edge along the fence line, all of the debris, mud, water, grass is going to come onto our side of the fence. These pictures already reveal grass growing underneath the fence onto our side. So in this video, I'm going to show you what I did to hide those gaps and make it look nice and clean. Stay tuned and don't forget to like and subscribe. Subscribe. As I mentioned, our fence was installed on top of grass, which looked straight, but now that we have straight concrete, we can see how uneven our fence actually is. Like most in this similar situation, it is far worse in some sections than it is in others. I have the start of one section and you can see it already looks 100% better. So let me show you what I chose to do about these unsightly gaps. I headed over to our local fence supply store, who is the company that installed our fence in the first place, and I was able to buy several of these bottom sections of the same color. They offered to do what I heard them call dog tailing or dog earring, where they cut off the top part as you see on the back but not the front. In my situation, the other side of the fence is 100% grass, so I needed to clear some space for the new bottom section to fit underneath the fence. Because of the way the concrete was poured, I had some extra space already from where the forms sat when pouring the concrete. In other areas, I found myself having to hammer out some of the existing concrete to make enough room for these new fence pieces to go. If your fence sits up against a sidewalk like these pictures, you shouldn't need to worry about digging down at all. Once I cleared away an area that was deep enough and thick enough for the fence post to sit, I went on to measuring the width between the posts. You'll want to do this for each section because what you'll find is the posts are not necessarily the same width between each section. You can cut these with a circular saw, or I'm cutting mine with my miter saw, just with a standard wood cutting blade. With your new section cut, and if it's going in a very straight place, you can pretty much just put the section right underneath the fence. However, if you have a quite angled section like this one, you will need to modify the back side so that it fits properly and that it looks straight. That's going to be up to you to do the measurements and the cuts. I used a multi-tool and in some cases a circular saw to cut through the PVC. I am very fortunate in my situation because the other side of the fence is just dirt and grass, so I did not need to spend the extra time to make the other side look pretty because it's never going to be seen. If yours will be seen on the other side, then yes, please take the extra time to do the job right. Now that your section has been prepared, there are several different methods you can use to mount it. The most simple method is to drive screws straight through. But I did this and I did not like the look of it at all. I thought it was quite ugly. Another method you could use is to take apart the fence. These little caps pop off nice and easily, and you can undo the screws that are holding these sections together. And once everything has been removed, you can drill straight from the existing bottom section down into the new bottom section. The problem with this is that you will need screws that are really long, which can go through both the existing bottom piece and into the new bottom piece. One method that I used in several places is to drill some pan head screws into the existing bottom section. Then, with my drill and a large drill bit, I was able to drill a hole in the back side of the lip of this bottom section, and you can see it only goes through one piece, not the whole thing. Once everything's lined up, and of course I did my measurements correctly, this will just sit and hang right on these screws. It might take some persuasion, but these will lift up over the screws and then hang right on them. As you can see, these sit pretty flush. This method does work, but it is quite time consuming. Because in my case, the majority of the new bottom piece is going to sit underground, I opted to do a different method where I just hold on the piece with 2 screws on each side, which puts enough pressure to hold it in place, and because I dug a good enough hole, this lines up properly and it looks great. After I fill the gaps with rocks, you're not even going to be able to see these screws. Of course, from here on out, I just continue this process for each section. I believe my fence had about 12 different sections that I needed to cover. I hope you brought along your popcorn so we can enjoy these time-lapse sections together. On the very last section, I could not for the life of me demolish these concrete pieces that were getting in the way. So I ended up just cutting the corners of these bottom pieces so that it would miss the concrete on this section. Fortunately for me, again, this is going to be underground and not seen. After a lot longer time than I'd care to admit, all of the sections are in and it's looking great. Now it's time for cleanup, and the very last step I'm going to do is pour some river rocks down the crack so that it fills the area and looks nice and crisp and clean. Earlier, I had pulled out my trailer so I could work on the fence portion. I have since put it back. I didn't want to pull it all the way out again, so I'm just going to try to see if I can squeeze in there. That's what she said. Well, look at that. This has really turned out to be quite a thing of beauty, if I don't say so myself. Aside from the big tire marks in the concrete and the tire marks on the fence from where I hit it with the lawnmower when there was grass here, this looks really good. It's nice and crisp and clean. Here is a look at some before and after shots. The last thing that I might do that I have not done yet is add some caulking to some of the sections that are a little bit wider of gaps than I'd like. In my case, I can color match with an almond caulking, and I have some, I just haven't got around to it. This is not something you have to do, but it's something you might want to do. If you made it this far in the video, thank you so much for watching. Please remember to smash that like button and subscribe for more bodacious content.
Subscribe.
Subscribe.